Graveyard is a place where the dead are buried, and once they are under, they don't come back. Hopefully. You may have come across the phrase, Afghanistan is the graveyard of empires, mostly in Western publications and their lackeys on this side of Suez. But is it really a graveyard for empires? Let's look at the history of the land we now call Afghanistan. Shordugai in Darkad district of northern Afghanistan was a trading colony of the Indus Valley Civilization around 2000 BC, which is considered the northernmost settlement of IVC. We also know that the northern region of the modern-day Afghanistan was a part of ancient Gandhara kingdom mentioned in Mahabharata, from where the name Kandahar is derived. Then it was part of Kambaju-Urusvaka kingdom, the tribe which coalesced to become one of the 16 Mahajanpadas. It was part of Achaemenid Empire, the first Persian empire, under Darius I. His descendant Darius III was defeated by Alexander in Battle of Gaugamela in 330 BC. After touching base with India, he met his end due to a fatal illness in Babylon during his return to Macedonia. After his demise, his general Seleucus Nicator set up his empire from modern-day Pakistan to Anatolia. Then some part of it was under the Mauryan Empire. Deiodatus Soter set up the Greco-Bactrian Empire in 256 BC. Likewise, the Indo-Scythians ruled the southern and eastern part of the region. All this while, the western regions were ruled by the Persian Parthian Empire, which eventually gave rise to the syncretic Indo-Parthian Empire. Around 30 CE, the Yuezhi tribes started moving southwards from their homeland, and Kujala Kadphises consolidated the Yuezhi tribes and founded the Kushan Empire. Around 250 CE, Shapur I swept eastwards and made it part of Sassanid Empire. This time around, the Huns had started moving southwards into the Indian subcontinent. The northern region of modern-day Afghanistan has been a part of the Kadara, Alkans, Nezak, and Hephthalites or the White Huns territory at some point. After the rise of Islam, the region was conquered by the Rashidun, Umayyad, and Abbasid caliphates. From the middle of the 9th century to around the end of the 10th, the Sunni Persian dynasty, the Saffarids ruled over the region. Then came the mighty Mongols. After the Mongol Empire broke into different khanates, the one which rose to prominence around this region was Chagatai, who were eventually succeeded by the Timurids, who made Kabul their base of operations, since it was more defensible than Samarkand. From the 16th century to the 17th century CE, Afghanistan was divided into three major areas. The north was ruled by the Khanate of Bukhara, the west was under the rule of the Iranian Shia Safavids, and the eastern section was under the Sunni Mughals of northern India. Nader Shah, a Persianized Turk, moved in from the west and conquered the region and included it in his empire, the Ashrafids, by 1738. The modern state of Afghanistan is the successor of the Emirate of Afghanistan, founded by Dost Muhammad Khan in 1823, whose precursor was the Durrani Empire. Due to the fear of the ever-expanding Russian Empire and their possible entry into the Indian subcontinent, the British tried to control the Emirate of Afghanistan and fought a series of wars with the Afghans, 3 to be precise, between 1839 to 1919. The first war resulted in Afghan victory, the second was won by the British and resulted in a British protectorate over Afghanistan, and the third essentially ended with Afghanistan's independence and establishment and affirmation of Durand Line as the border between Pakistan and Afghanistan. Later in the 20th century, the Soviets tried to meddle with the Afghan politics and moved in around 1979, were unsuccessful, moved out in 1989 and USSR broke up 2 years later in 1991. The US then reinforced their presence in the nation in 2001 after 9/11s and decided to quit and move out of Afghanistan after 2 long decades in 2021. So back to the graveyard thing, the empires which are usually quoted in that context are the Macedonians, Brits, and Russians. It is pretty evident that Alexander's withdrawal from the doors of India and his eventual death had nothing to do with Afghanistan. And even after his death, the region was under Greek rule for a long time. In case of Britain, They were the ones who decided the boundaries of the modern state of Afghanistan. And their fall didn't start until the Second World War, or as some would argue, after its end, at least 2 decades after their last meet-up with the Afghans. The Russian story is a bit different though. Apart from the social, economic, political factors and nuclear disasters, yes, Chernobyl, the Afghanistan debacle also proved to be a huge factor in the collapse of USSR. As far as the US is concerned, their withdrawal seems voluntary, and they are certainly not headed to the graveyard, definitely not until the time of the creation of this video. All the empires we've mentioned are the major empires which at some point or the other conquered Afghanistan but did not originate there, and that is why we left out the Ghaznavids, Ghurids, Hotakis, and Durranis. Hence, the notion of Afghanistan being the graveyard of empires is flawed. Especially when almost every empire which tried got its hands on it. Also, apart from contributing partially to the fall of USSR, none of the empires were driven to the grave by them. Please like, comment and share the video and subscribe to the channel to support us. Until next time.